So from today we are starting a new unit, that is respiration and circulation. We will be learning the various aspects of the respiration as well as the circulation in this unit. Respiration first we will discuss, and thereafter we will be talking about the circulation. We will be learning the comparative study of respiratory organ in this particular unit. We will be learning the structure, we will be learning the function. So various model organisms, the specialized respiratory system will learn into the earthworm, spider, bony fish, then frog, pigeon. Not only this, we will also learn the structure of lungs and physiology of respiration in man. Then we will learn the comparative study of the circulation. In that we will learn the open and closed type of the circulatory system, single and double type of the circulatory system, then types of circulating fluids. Circulating fluids means the blood, what it comprised of: water, then coelomic fluid, haemolymph, lymph, then blood. Then like respiration, we will also learn the comparative study of hearts in this unit. In that also we will learn the structure and function of the heart. So propelling organ of the earthworm, then heart of cockroach, heart of shark, heart of frog, heart of crocodile, heart of pigeon. Then after learning the all types of hearts in various animal, we will be learning about the structure and mechanism of working of heart in human. So this is all about this unit, but we will begin with the respiration. So let us talk about the respiration today. Then thereafter, today we will be just learn the basics of the respiration. What is respiration? We will try to understand. So all this comes under the physiology, animal physiology. Physiology means the various processes which is occurring in the body. So let's begin with the first topic, that is the respiration. Now, what do you mean by the respiration? Actually, respiration is the metabolic process. Underline the term metabolic processes. Metabolic processes means inside the human body, whatever chemical reaction occurs, that is known as the metabolic reactions or metabolic processes. So respiration is what? It is a chemical reaction which is occurring in the body of an organism. Now this is very common to all living things. Maybe their respiratory organs are different. Maybe their type of respiration is different. Maybe their oxygen coming medium is different. Maybe the organism is taking oxygen from the air. Maybe the organism is taking the oxygen from the water. Maybe the organism is getting the oxygen from the chemical reactions, but their type of medium may be different. Maybe their type of respiratory organs are different. Maybe their type of respiration is different, but the respiration, the purpose of respiration is same, means it includes the breathing, transport of gases, as well as oxidation of food. Now see, the oxidation of food is most important. Whatever food organism is eating, that food needs to be oxidized. Now why there is a need to oxidize the food? Because when the food oxidizes, it gives the energy. Now why do we eat? We are feeling hungry or low energy. When you are hungry, that time you don't feel to do anything. Why? Because your body is on the low energy mode that time, right? So that time you don't feel like to work anything, but as soon as you eat, you feel, now I can do anything. So how do you get that oxygen? Because when you are when you are eating the food, so that particular time, to get energy from that food, the food must be oxidized. So this oxidation liberates the carbon dioxide, which is not required for the body, and that carbon dioxide must be expelled outside. So replacement of the carbon dioxide with oxygen is a chemical reaction or the metabolic process, which is in short called as the respiration. So how can we explain the definition of the respiration? We can say respiration is a biochemical process in which cells of an organism obtain energy by combining oxygen and glucose, resulting in release of carbon dioxide, water and ATP. I repeat the definition of the respiration. So respiration is a biochemical process in which cells of an organism obtain energy by combining oxygen and glucose, resulting in the release of carbon dioxide, water and ATP. ATP is the currency of energy. Now, how the respiration happens? Now, when we think about respiration, we simply says respiration is breathing. That is the inhalation of the air and exhalation of the whatever waste gases are there in our body. But actually, respiration occurs in two steps. First is the external respiration. Now, then second is the internal respiration. When we talk about the external, that means external outside. That means the lungs level. External respiration or breathing is the mechanical process of exchange of respiratory gases. Here, what is going to be happen? Exchange of the respiratory gases will occur. That means oxygen and carbon dioxide between the organism and its surrounding. So, when we simply you can say external respiration is your the breathing, and when we talk about the internal respiration is a chemical process. Now, what I told, what is the purpose of the respiration? The purpose of the respiration is oxidize your food. So actual purpose served in the internal respiration. So internal respiration is a chemical process now where what is going to happen? The food will oxidize. So food is oxidized within the cell to liberate the free energy, carbon dioxide and water. So the food will leave whatever energy is there. So energy will be utilized for your work, and carbon dioxide will be exhaled outside, and water will be utilized for the various purposes. Now, internal respiration, what do you think where it take place? So it take place into the cytoplasm and mitochondria of the eukaryotic cells. So that's why it is also called as the cellular respiration or the tissue respiration. Once again, we'll revise. Respiration have the two essential processes, external respiration and the internal respiration. When we talk about the external respiration is simply our breathing. So it is a mechanical process of exchange of respiratory gases. What are the respiratory gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. So where the exchange will occur? The exchange will occur between the organism and its surrounding. So organism may live into the water, so that time it is going to exchange the carbon dioxide with oxygen from the water, because in the water dissolved oxygen is present, and that dissolved oxygen is taken by the organism, and organism whatever carbon dioxide is liberated, it mixes into the water. Then next we learn is the internal respiration. So internal respiration is a chemical process. Now I told you internal respiration serves the actual purpose of taking the whatever gases are there or oxygen is there inside the body. So that is the oxidation of the food. So internal respiration takes place within the cell. Now what is going to happen in the case of the internal respiration? Food will oxidize. Now when the food will oxidize, so it will liberate the free energy, carbon dioxide and water. So as it happens into the cytoplasm and the mitochondria, So that's why the internal respiration is also called as the cellular respiration or tissue respiration. This type of question can be asked into the MCQ. Cellular respiration is also called as dash, or internal respiration is also called as dash. So you must remember, internal respiration is also called as the cellular respiration or the tissue respiration. Now let us learn the types of respiration. When we talk about the types of respiration, so see, the organism has evolved from amoeba till the complex human. So definitely their respiratory system must be different. Here I forgot to type N, types of respiration. So when we talk about the complexity of the organism, so their types or the respiratory organism also differ, as we are dealing with the zoology subject, which is the science of the various animals. So we will be learning the respiration in all type of animals. All type of animal means we will be taking one model organism where the various modification, actually our concern to do the comparative study of the respiratory system is to learn the respiration in the various organism. Now why various organism? Because we want to learn the modification, what are the various modification has done into the various respiratory organs of the organism. Now let us discuss about the types of respiration. When we talk about the types, so basically in general it has two types. One is the direct respiration, another is the indirect respiration. When we talk about the direct respiration, name itself suggests that exchange of gas, that is the oxygen, will occur directly. Now here no special respiratory organ is required. So we can say it is the exchange of gases between the environment and body cell without the aid of expiratory organ, or blood is also not required. Example, now what could be the example here? We can have the example like amoeba, hydra, then we can also have the flatworm as the example, sponges. Now in this organism, exchange of gases will occur by the simple process of diffusion across the general body surface, whatever their body surface is there. So generally what they do, they diffuse the gases, whatever the waste gases are there, they simply diffuse it out. They don't require the special, you will not find any blood or any special expiratory organ into the plants or certain type of the organism. They simply exchange the gases by the diffusion process. What do you mean by that diffusion? Diffusion means the movement of the molecule from one side to the other side, from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. Means wherever the concentration of the molecule becomes higher will become the source, and it will diffuse or it will go to the lower concentration. Suppose in example, one particular cell has the higher concentration of the oxygen, so oxygen will move out. In the case of respiration by the simple diffusion, what is going to be happen? The animal has accumulate the higher concentration of the carbon dioxide in the body as compared to the environment where it lives. So what is going to be happen? The carbon dioxide will move from the higher concentration to the lower concentration, that means to the environment. So this way simply the carbon dioxide will move outside. When we talk about the indirect respiration, it's a little complex process. So here special respiratory organ will present. Now when we talk about respiratory surface or the organs, it could be the skin, it could be the buccopharyngeal linings, it could be gill, it could be lungs. We all are going to learn all this respiratory organ in various organism in detail into the next lecture. So such type of organism will also involve the blood for circulation of the respiratory gases into the body. Now see, respiration means whatever gas or whatever oxygen has been respired, it must be given to the all body cells. For the, now we already have learned the process of the respiration. Now when we talk about the respiratory organ, they are just going to add into the external respiration, right? So this respiratory organ will help into the external respiration, but for the internal respiration, this oxygen or whatever respiratory gas is there, it must be reached to each and every part of the body, each and every cell tissue of the body. So for that particular purpose, it must have the blood, and blood must have the respiratory pigments. So this pigment can hold the oxygen and take it to the all part. So for that reason, the blood is important, and blood circulation is also important to pass on the respiratory gases into the body. Now when we talk about the respiratory organ, so respiratory organ, as I have already told you, that it has evolved as the animal become more and more complex with the higher metabolic rate. The protective body surface were impermeable for exchange of gases, and animal developed the specialized structure for the gaseous exchange. Means when the animal become more protective and more complex, so the animal got the special body surfaces. So what will happen? That will become the hurdle for exchange of the gases from the environment. So they required the special organ for the gaseous exchange. So the transport of gases from the respiratory organ to the body cell was therefore brought about by blood and the circulatory system, because the animal from the amoeba till the human become more and more and more complex. So that's why it is very important to have the special aids for the respiration. So that's why they got the special respiratory organ, and they got this proper circulatory system for circulation of the respiratory gases. So in the type of respiration, we learned the two types: direct respiration and indirect respiration. Direct respiration, we all have seen that here the exchange of oxygen will occur with the body cells. Means it is mostly applicable for the unicellular organism, or the organism which do not have a very complex body structure. No, they don't require the special respiratory organ. Indirect respiration, we all have learned that they have the special respiratory organs. Special respiratory organ includes the skin, buccopharyngeal lining, it includes the gills, and the lungs are used. Now it also involves the blood. Now why blood? Because the now all these particular respiratory organ will only support the external respiration. For internal respiration or the cellular respiration, it is important to reach the oxygen or the respiratory gases to the each cell. So for this gaseous exchange, the blood is required. The blood cannot always be the same blood, red color blood as we have. We are going to learn about blood in detail into the circulation part. So this is your indirect respiration. What is happening in direct respiration? You can see that they have the various organs for the respiration. Now, characteristic of the respiratory surface, or you can say the respiratory organs. Now, for respiration, the organ must be specialized. Specialized means it should help into the respiration, or you can say the gaseous exchange. So, what property it must comprise of? It first of all, when we talk about the respiration, now, surfaced, when we talk about the organ, the surface of the organ must be thin. Why do you think it must be thin? The reason is if it is thin, so gas can pass very well. It must be permeable. Note down the term permeable. Permeable means it must allow. Now, for what it must be permeable? What do you think? It must be permeable for the gases. Which type of gases? It must be permeable for oxygen. It must be permeable for the carbon dioxide. Okay, so first thing we have learned that it must be thin, because if it is thin, so it becomes easy for the gaseous exchange. Then it must allow for the passage of the gases. Now that is the oxygen and carbon dioxide can freely move from this particular surface. Now next thing, it must be moist. Now why should it be moist? Why there is the need of the moist surface? Because if it is moist, so the oxygen which we are taking from the air, so that will help to take them easily, and whatever it will not only do like that with the air, whatever gas is coming inside, it must be taken, or it must be dissolved completely to the blood. Then thereafter it must be highly vascular. Vascular means it should form, when you will see the previous, now you can see here, it has forms the bony vessels or the complex. So if it is highly vascular, it will increase the area. Suppose if you have a straight thin rod, sorry, I'm sorry, if you have a thread, if you will keep it straight, so what is going to be happen? It will, you can keep 1 meter, 2 meter like this only. But if you will reel it, or you will make the frills like this, so you will find that it is taking the more means 5 to 10 meter of thread is making this much of frill. So if more vascular is there, it is going to give the more area, more, or you can say the large surface area. Now why do we require the large surface area? Because if there is a large surface area, so the respiratory organ will get large space for the gaseous exchange. So gaseous exchange will become very efficient if the area is highly large. Then it must be in the contact with the source of oxygen. Now contact with the source of oxygen is most important point, because if the respiratory organ do not have any opening for the source, so from where it will get the oxygen, so it must be in the contact with the air or water, whatever the animal, it depends on the type of animal. If the animal is aquatic, so it must be in the contact with the, like you will find that the gills, they are in contact with the water. So this respiratory organ must be in contact with the medium. When we talk about the our case, that is human, you will find that we have the nasal cavity which is in contact with the air. So this is the most important property. So let us discuss once again the characteristic of the respiratory organ. We have learned that it must be thin, it must be permeable, permeable for oxygen and carbon dioxide, it must be moist, it must be highly vascular, then it must have the large surface area for the efficient exchange of the gases, and lastly we all have learned that it must be in the contact with the source of oxygen. So this is about the respiration. We have learned that the respiration is a biochemical process in which the cells of an organism obtain energy by combining oxygen and glucose, resulting in the release of carbon dioxide, water, and the ATP, or you can say energy. Then thereafter we have learned the two process of the respiration, external and internal. External at the lungs level, and internal on the tissue level. External is the breathing, internal is the food oxidation. Then we have learned the direct respiration. Respiration occurs without the aid of the respiratory organ, and indirect respiration occurs with the special respiratory organs. Then thereafter we have learned the characteristics of the respiratory surface. So this is all about in general about the respiration. Next lecture onwards we will be learning the comparative study of the respiratory organ. In that we will be learning the modified respiratory organ in the various organisms. So at this note for today we'll stop.